We're live now.
Sleep.
I was joking, dog poop. It's fixed.
Okay, well, welcome back, everybody. And council reports, does anybody, I just want to finish off, because, sorry.
Let's reconvene.
Oh, can I have a motion to reconvene, moved by Councillor Page, seconded by Councillor Tate? All those in favor? And we're reconvened.
Thanks, Mark.
Did anybody have a brief report that they wanted to make? No? Yes, Councillor Payne.
I don't have a brief one, but I did highlight 3 items. If that's okay, I'll just do that and submit the rest. It's been a while, folks. I just wanted to mention that a number of us were invited to the dinner that the Sinaics had at the Hume on the 30th, yeah,
29th.
the 29th. It was the 29th. And it was, they just did such an excellent job of curating the tables so that you got to sit with a member of their council and a bunch of other people, a number of other people in the community. We had staff and electeds represented there. And it was just, for me, a great way to move into the following day, Truth and Reconciliation, by building those relationships and understanding better the healing and the truth that does need to happen as we move forward in many ways. Then I went to the Métis event the next day, and also really, really lovely as the West Kootenay Métis held their event down at Lakeside Park. One of the other key ones that I really enjoyed was Sharon Grierson from the $10 a day childcare advocacy was here in the West Kootenays at the Prestige last night with Kootenay Kids CCRR childcare resource, and there's something else for the other R referral. Thank you, Kate. Yeah, they just again brought in a excellent group of individuals, childcare workers, childcare managers, different business. Nelson at its best was there. GNED was represented, so it was really a wonderful opportunity to hear more about how we can work together to do a bunch of things that are critically important. And as I listened to a parent who talked about getting childcare as winning the lottery and how it changed the life for their family, not only financially, but for her emotionally and professionally. So she was able to continue along. So I found that really meaningful, and
They kind of talked about it was like another mortgage payment.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't get the $10 a day,
Right. Yeah.
it's like $1,500 or close to $2,000 a month. Just for
Yeah,
childcare.
and it's still a lottery because there are so few $10 a day spaces, which is sort of hard to understand. One of the things I'm gonna look into more, I know there are people out in the community who are aware of this, but since the federal government has been promoting this for years, it sounded like BC has sort of the lowest dispersal rate of that funding, or in a different way that wasn't really clear, because I think 3 other provinces were named as having universal, either $15 or $10 a day. So it was available to everyone. And I think that's something that we all realize is critical to the economic and well-being of our community. On Saturday, on an absolutely glorious day, I went out to volunteer at the Ride for Refuge, which was the national fundraiser. First time that it was held here in Nelson, though, where you could walk 2.5 or 5K, or you could bike 10 or 20K, and you were raising money for the Amy Beaulieu Transition House, which just celebrated its 30th anniversary. So that was a lot of fun. It was a great event, good participation considering there was sort of a short lead up time to it. So I hope that more people are encouraged to attend next year. Beautifully organized, and we were up at Svoboda Road there in the parking lot. We started both ways, and people were everywhere having fun for, a great cause. those were just a couple of things, but one of the most fun was really going to the Fat Tire races on Sunday. That's the first time I'd been up to,
Morning Mountain.
thank you, Morning Mountain, and seen all that. And when I got there, I was talking to some of the folks there and asking them how old are they when they, you know, get started doing this, because now that I have a little person that I'm spending time with, I thought, oh, when is that gonna start? Not quite as early as some of the profession or sports you've been talking about, but they said, yeah, it starts at 4. Well, then about 5 minutes later, the 2-year-olds are on these bikes where they don't have pedals. They just run
bikes.
on the bikes. I had never seen that before. It was so fun, and they just kept going up through the ages. I think I left at around 7 or 8 when they were riding, following the bunny, who was the lead, through the course and being gone for a significant amount of time. But what an incredible opportunity when we talk about recreation in our area, to be able to be that close to the town center and still be able to get out there on the mountain. I know that you can go to high levels of expense with mountain bikes and that sort of equipment, but I think you can also do it in a fairly basic way and enjoy the incredible facilities we have. So lots going on as usual in our little town.
Anybody else? Okay, Councillor Tate.
Just want to reiterate from Rec Commission that conversations have begun between staff and staff at SD8 to talk about how we can best use some of our spaces for recreation for the region. I'm just gonna keep saying that. Thank you.
I'm gonna be excited to hear it every time you say it.
Thank you.
Okay, so, and they did raise, my understanding is $22,000 for the Amy Bolio Society, so.
Oh, wow.
From that activity on the weekend. So I will have a written report that'll be in the next, it's on my desk, and I'll put it in for the cow, regarding the 7 ministers that I met with while I was at UBCM, along with some councillors who participated. But I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention the passing of Bob Adams, who was a longtime Nelson Public Works employee and retired after 26 years with the city, and then just couldn't stay away, so came back as a city councillor and spent 13 years as a councillor. Sat right there where Kate is
Thank
most
you,
of the
Bob.
time. So I had the pleasure of doing the last 4 years. He did the 2014, so I did have 4 years with Bob as a councillor. He was very, very involved in the community, and he was a Métis elder, and he took much pride in presiding over the raising of the Métis flag here at City Hall on Louis Riel Day, and he was, like I say, very, very involved with the Métis here in the region. So, yes, 82. There will be a service. I think I've got it written down here somewhere at the Hume, I believe. Hume Hotel, Saturday, October the 18th at 1 p.m. So those of you who may have known him, and maybe we should make sure that we put a little post on Jostle, or let the Public Works guys know that have been around for a long time, that activity will be taking place. On other exciting news that's been happening around the city, I tell you, you leave town for a couple of days and everything goes on. So in terms of cultural achievements within the city, I'd like to just recognize that Fred Waugh, who I remember from as a child, when he wrote his book about the Diamond Grill and talks about my family and my grandmother actually in his book, just was won the Lieutenant Governor's Award for literary excellence just last month. And he has in the past also been named to the Order of Canada, as well as being the Parliamentary Poet Laureate during his career. So an outstanding career, and he grew up here as a young man, and he often takes the opportunity to travel back into Nelson. So I think this is a nice cultural acknowledgement of somebody that's been in our community for a number of years and written about our community. Moving on to sports, I noticed in the paper the other day that Jasmine Lother, one of our previous sports ambassadors, won a 4th place at the World Championships in an 80-kilometer race. Just always trying to figure out like what 80 kilometers feels like to
2 marathons in a row.
Wow.
to run. Yeah, it's 2 marathons, 42.5. Yeah,
Here to trail?
yeah. It's trail running through the
I mean, like
mountains
the
in
distance.
Spain.
Is it like, would it be like the equivalent of running from Nelson to trail?
Probably
Yeah.
pretty close.
Pretty close, yeah.
But-
Exactly.
But
But
up.
up.
I think there was 4,000 or 5,000 meters of
Yeah, it's
vert.
55, I got a note here, it's 55,
So
they ran 5,500 meters of elevation.
5,500, and so for reference, from Johnston Road to the CBC Tower is 1,000.
Yeah.
So 5 of those,
Oh,
over 80 kilometers.
that's.
Amazing.
And then, not to embarrass our fellow counselor, but his boxing club has once again been named the Boxing Center of BC. Woohoo! And when his last trip down to the coast, the team came back with multiple provincial honors and a few golds and a few silvers, but congratulations again to your team. So it's been pretty exciting times here, and I don't know if I missed any other headlines of great Nelson athletes and cultural ambassadors but yeah. Anyways, that's my report for today. So moving on to item 8. We have a request from the Legion. Council has received a request from the Royal Canadian Legion, branch number 51, asking for council permission to paint a commemorative crosswalk on the crosswalk at Victoria Street and Stanley Street, directly across from the Pride sidewalk, Pride crosswalk.
I'll move that.
Moved by Councillor Woodward, is there a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Page. Any discussion or concerns, councillors? Seeing none, Councillor Payne.
So once something like this is just a curiosity, but once something like this has been painted, what's the upkeep on that? Does it need to be done annually? Is that?
Yeah, the groups do it annually, so the
Okay.
Pride group does theirs
Right,
annually, and
Right, okay.
yeah. those are two.
And how does the city, like I noticed they've asked for the city to do the zebra stripes underneath? How does that, do they do it in conjunction?
That'll be, yeah, we have the ability with stencils and the paint to be able to work that out with them. So if
Okay.
council would like, agree with this, then we can figure out how to make it all work with Public Works.
Yeah, sounds like Public Works is in, so if they're in.
Councillor Tate.
It does beg the question of like our flag policy and our banner policy and, sidewalk painting policy, and whether or not that is something that we should look at, and maybe putting it all into one policy or those pieces. I'm not sure what next sidewalk will come to the table, and if it is something that had more debate, we might be challenged as to how to approve or disapprove something.
And so that's been contemplated, just so you know, because I was in contact with the Legion about the commemorative sidewalk. And when I spoke with staff, because I don't recall, but they assured me that at one point, the Pride Committee, along with, I think, Nelson City Police, did come to ask council's permission to paint the sidewalk. They don't come back every year. I hadn't recalled that being asked. It was probably asked during a time when I wasn't at the table. But yeah, so now this is the second time in quite a number of years that we've been made a request. So there is some thought to give some consideration to whether or not we have a crosswalk policy.
So we don't have.
No. The Pride request was a one-off, and now this is a two-off.
There are a number of communities doing Indigenous crosswalks as well.
something for
So-
staff.
Anyways, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, and that carries, and it is their hope to have it done in time for Remembrance Day this year. Okay. Item number 9A, the 2026 council meetings calendar and 2026 acting mayor schedule were submitted for council consideration at the September 9th regular meeting. Council requested staff to make changes to the council calendar. The amended calendar is now in front of you, along with the 2026 acting mayor schedule, and are presented for council approval.
I'd like to propose an amendment, please.
Do you want to do the amendment or just,
We can we'll just,
we'll just do it?
Okay, sounds good. We're gonna try to switch.
so Councillor Page and Councillor Tate are going to switch.
Yes, please.
That's all.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
You have a mover yet?
Nope,
Nope.
because we don't have to do the amendment, so moved by Councillor Woodward,
Second.
second by Councillor Tate. Any further discussion or concerns? Councillor Pinero,
Just, I think we've talked
Yeah,
about it already.
and that's fine.
Never mind.
It's a
Moving on.
secret. Now it's a secret.
Well, it's not a secret, I mean, he's gonna be away for December, I mean, I don't wanna play like lollygog on the calendar, like, so just so everybody knows that if you cannot do your time, like at some point you're away, what happens is that it goes to the next, so even if it's like 2 weeks and suddenly there's 15 things that the mayor's is supposed to be at, and you're not here as being assigned those 2 months, it goes to whoever is next in line. The ball rolls forward.
Yeah.
So that somebody would potentially always be able to cover. And for many of these things, that you also have the opportunity to say, I can't.
Who was acting mayor last week?
Last week was Councillor Page, just finished up his term.
So I was pretending to be him who should have been
Well, you were the
pretending to
only
be
person
you.
here, so like, so
I'm just
that
saying,
ball rolled
It just
really
kept
far
rolling.
forward, cause it rolled right through Councillor Tate.
And stop.
Glad to hear that Panero's gonna be running
And we didn't
again.
have, and we didn't
And he's gonna
And
be
we didn't
there.
have you there for December yet because we hadn't passed the calendar yet, so it was like, and thank you for holding the fort for all of us, Councillor Pinero, while we were in Vancouver. Because you did do a couple of things. You went to the dedication of the peace pole, the new peace pole that's in Lakeside Park, and you sat in at the public presentation, which was
These are
great
your
that you were
council
able to-
reports.
And there's your council report.
Everybody that was there and cared.
No, I wasn't there. Okay.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? And that carries. Now people can plan their holidays or whatever
I do
accordingly.
just have a question then.
Mm-hmm,
So 2 councillors have shifted. Will that be updated and
It'll-
circulated? So
yeah. You'll get it in
I
the,
would need to know, but
well,
as long
everybody
as-
will wanna know who they are, so you will
as
get
long
it
as you know.
updated.
We should get a sash.
Should walk around town with a sash. Acting mayor.
An AM.
Okay,
Sash.
so moving on to 9, oh, we have a sash. We have a lovely sash that they always make for the cultural ambassador, so
Oh, are we getting one for the sports ambassador this year? It's early enough.
there's a thought.
Talk about a sports jet.
I heard.
Okay, sorry.
9B. The Regional District of Central Kootenay, RDCK, delivers Nelson's Emergency Support Services, ESS, as part of the emergency management service that the city contributes to ensure a responsive, consistent, high-quality ESS delivery across the region. The RDCK and participating municipalities, Salmo, Solcan, Silverton, Nakusp, Caslow, Creston, Castlegar, and Nelson, are coordinating a single regional application for the Emergency Support Services Equipment and Training Grant Stream under the UBCM Community Emergency Preparedness Fund. Staff requests approval from council for the RDCK to apply for and oversee the grant on the city's behalf. Do I have a mover?
Can I just give a bit of an update?
Sure.
didn't get a second.
Well, I got mover was Woodward, seconder was Tate. There we go.
So I think the resolution is fine, it's just they're still sorting out what, what that program looks like and what level of funding that they will apply for. And we're also, right now, we're paying into the service for ESS and we're negotiating what that looks like if they get this grant and this helps fund some of that, so. Sounds like it likely will be maybe less than the full 30,000 that they apply for, but that's all being worked on as they work on their budget and what that looks like. So.
Councillor Payne.
I was just curious, it's interesting to me, so it's 30,000 per local authority, so it doesn't matter if you're Slocan or Cranbrook, it's 30,000, they just, okay. Well, that's sort of good, because on many other areas, they don't often get what I think. It just seems like an interesting way to do it, you
Yeah,
think it would be more of a per capita type of.
But it's recognizing that you have to do just foundational work regardless of the size of the municipality, right?
Well, again, it
But whether you have the capacity.
doesn't necessarily encourage you to partner, which is, fortunately our regional district is, we are delivering this on a regional basis, which makes sense. But, yeah, some of them make sense and some don't, and yeah, if you had to do it by yourself, then you probably need the 30 grand, but Slocan doesn't even have an EM program, right? So they. Anyway, it is what it is. We're thankful that the program's up there.
Councillor Payne.
Seems great. I'm interested in, it's a grant for training and equipment, but the plan is to hire a coordinator, so does that fall under the training part of that grant, or is that a separate? It just seems like staffing costs are separate from training and equipment, but and I don't know I also am interested in what an ESS coordinator does separate from what our own.
Well, ESS is finding, support for those that have been displaced or whatever, so they.
Okay, so we don't all have one, they just coordinate all, okay, that's what
We're part of the RD service, they contract with an ESS provider, the coordinator would do all that work to make sure
whatever
that
service is needed.
Yeah, and I think
Okay.
there's reception centers and all those sorts of things.
It's a really great regional program.
Yeah.
That it exists.
Makes sense for that to.
And RDCK pays an amount of money to the Red Cross to deliver level 1. So if your house burns down,
Thank you, that helped.
that gets delivered by Red Cross. A level 2 and 3 where you have larger evacuations. Red Cross, at least I would have to look, the regional district manages those. And they do it in conjunction with teams throughout the region. So the ESS coordinator is, if you could imagine, 80 or 90 volunteers throughout the region, making sure that everybody knows what the processes are, making sure that, everywhere has established reception centers and group lodging setups and things like that, and how that would work in an emergency. It takes a lot of effort. So when I was there, we had an EPC that basically just did this. So, and in the RDCK, it happens so frequently that people are evacuated every summer, basically, the summer being, a rare exception in the last, 5-7, well, since 2017. So, yeah, it's a fantastic program. Really grateful that the RDC can take it on, especially given if we, say, if you're a community and you run your own, the challenge is when you're running your own ESS, and some of if your community gets evacuated, you're going somewhere else anyways, right? So it really makes sense to be part of a regional program for this.
That helps me just understand, so our EOS is at the beginning and this is sort of after, like pre-event and post-event.
Our EOC?
EOC, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, this is,
And yeah.
this is during the event.
Yeah.
So an evacuation order goes on.
After an event, after an evacuation is happening.
Yeah, as it all happens. So
got it.
really difficult to evacuate without having this set up. At least a reception center where people can check in and get supplies if needed. Hopefully everybody has a plan and can just execute their plan. But evidently, people generally there's plenty of people that need support.
That has not been our experience, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome, thank you, great, got it. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Okay. So that's been moved and seconded, and all those in favor, and that carries, thank you. Moving on to 9C. So Development Services has received a request from the Railtown Housing Society for $35,000 from the Affordable Housing Fund, $65,000 from the Downtown Waterfront Reserve Fund, and in-kind staff time to cover engineering inspections. These requests will allow the organization to cover a portion of the capital construction costs not covered by the recently approved Local Area Service LAS bylaw. So we have Natalie here. Did everybody want to just jump into passing these motions, or would you like to hear a little update from? Okay, I got 1 point to Natalie, I got a wave. Natalie, you're on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so the proposed, and I know this has come to council a few times over the last year. So it's a proposed 6-story building, a 55-unit mixed-use building. It's located on land subdivided and formerly owned by the Nelson and District Chamber of Commerce. The land is now transferred and owned by the Railtown Housing Society. So just in case that wasn't clear, the Railtown Housing Society will own and operate that building once it's constructed. So for the first request, just a bit of background on how the building will actually run. The housing is intended for local workforce, middle income earners, with a target rents not exceeding 30% of their household income. 20% of the units will be rented at 20% below market rate. And the city's affordable housing policy guides applications from the Affordable Housing Fund. So that can be used for land, capital fees, consulting, legal fees, etc. The request for $35,000 generally aligns with that policy and was supported by the Affordable Housing Committee. The second request is for $65,000. It's from the Downtown Waterfront Reserve Fund. And this generally aligns with the fund's goals to support the downtown and waterfront area. There is no policy for that fund, but that was the intention of it. As part of the subdivision and development servicing bylaw requirements, the society has to upgrade that road in front of their building to full city standards, which is quite an undertaking for a non-for-profit society and a major capital cost for that project. And it is somewhat unusual within the city because most parcels front a developed property. The $65,000 would be used to enhance the public realm features, which is landscaping, lighting, pedestrian amenities, which is currently outside their budget. Supporting this funding request would help ensure those amenities are completed to a high standard and would enhance Railtown, which is something the city has been endeavoring to do. The third request is in regard to engineering services. The city does not have a policy for providing in-kind staff time for engineering inspections. Our engineering staff resources are limited and staff do have concern about setting a precedent with providing these services. These inspections would involve daily detailed site monitoring and as well as specialized equipment that we actually do not have in-house. So for these reasons, we would not recommend approval of the third request.
Councillor Woodward.
First question is, if I want to talk about it, should I move something?
Sure, that would be good, perhaps.
And are we moving it 1, 2, 3 separate?
Yes. Well, you can do, well,
I'd actually like to talk about 2, but I'll move 1.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll move 1.
okay, seconded by Councillor Page. Okay,
Thank you. So I just, about 2,
Do we want
No,
to
let's
take on
just,
one?
let's do
Oh, okay.
one and then
So-
we'll, yeah.
okay, I'd like to talk about 2 when the opportunity comes.
Do you need that further or number 2?
Number 2.
The engineering.
the engineering?
Yeah.
Okay,
So, yeah, so if we want to just move 1,
I have a question about
I have
that.
a
Okay.
question one.
okay, so I'm gonna go to Councillor Page because he was a seconder, then Councillor Tate.
I'm curious, when you're talking about the cost and budget impacts, there's that mention about the local service area bylaw. Is that provided as context, or is there an anticipation of allocating some of these costs that we're fronting on the 65,000 back through the local areas. Sort of bylaw.
So it's what they're required, or what the local service area bylaw covers, when they costed it afterwards, it exceeds the $750 that we've agreed to create a local service area bylaw for. Basically, this 100 will get them to what they estimate the cost to do that work is, which includes the landscaping, the lighting, the sidewalks, the road, etc. So this will allow them to stay whole. Generally, when you do a local service area bylaw, it's actually the city that takes on doing that work, right? So we go to the owner saying, yes, if you want us to pave your street or do this improvement, we will do it. You have to pay for it. In this case, because they're building this building and are gonna be in that road and doing other things, we've said, we want you to deliver the program, and when they've costed it now, they're saying it's greater than the $750 that we've allowed for in the local area service improvement. This would allow them to complete that work and take it off our hands and them deliver it. They have to have the contingency and project management and all those other things that we would incur ourselves if we did this work ourselves.
Okay, so no.
It's not covered in the $750, it's above the $750, yeah.
Councillor Tate.
I'm interested in understanding, I had heard different models for this building, like some business owners would own the suites and then be able to lease them to their employees, but this is a purpose-built rental, kind of similar model as the share housing that's by the highway.
Yeah, I think it's through CMHC.
So it has to be like a
When I went
rental
through
building.
Canada Mortgage and Housing, they rejected the model that
They had.
they originally had and
Oh.
said it had to be their standard model. So they've switched, yeah.
So it's a society
Yeah.
with applications and it's rentals only.
Correct. And it was always.
It was always gonna be rentals.
But it, the
They were
rentals
gonna
are
have a
just-
head lease, they were gonna lease it to a building owner or a property or business, and they would sublease it to tenants, but in this case, CMHC. And then, the province was supporting their model, but CMHC, they basically said, we see this as permanent housing, we don't see you, if someone leaves your business that as an employee that you can punt the person out on the street, so.
Gotcha.
So it's the normal rental, and people will have the right to stay in those units. It's targeted to workforce still, but they won't have the right to.
Control which
If you
workforce.
choose to retire, then you can stay in the building.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Seeing no further questions, we've had a mover and a seconder for recommendation number 1. Councillor Woodward, did you want to just read that so everybody's clear on what we've moved and seconded?
Okay, so this is number 1. The council provide $35,000 in financial support from the Affordable Housing Reserve Fund to Railtown Housing Society for capital construction costs for their project at 85 Baker Street. And further, the council provides $65,000 in financial support from the Downtown Waterfront Reserve for capital construction costs for their project at 85 Baker Street.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? And opposed? And that carries. Okay,
Yes, I'd like to move to, because I'd like to talk about it.
okay.
Thank you.
And is there a seconder for 2? Okay, so that's moved by Woodward, seconded by Tate. Councillor Woodward as the mover.
Okay, so my thought was, instead of just sort of saying no, I was wondering, and I know this could set precedent, but I was wondering, could we not do the same that we did in 1, where we give them a tranche of money towards an engineer of record? Maybe it wouldn't cover all of it, but it would help them get going. And I feel like we're supporting them in, a very substantial way here, and this would be helpful to them. So is there any comment on that? Either using either one of these funds to help them cover those costs?
Yeah, they certainly identified, this is a cost thing for them. They're gonna have to hire the engineer to, to oversee the construction project, sign off on it, et cetera, so yes, I'm not sure if we ever heard what their estimate of what those costs are.
That was the question I had was,
Number.
I don't know what the total, like if one of these major projects, how much an engineer would.
Engineering costs are normally 10-15% of the project cost, so you're talking 10,000-15,000 probably.
I think that maybe, I don't know, can we,
We could ask them to come back.
can we
and
ask,
make
can we
a
come,
request.
like, we could come back. I mean, it's not to say that we can't bring this back at some point. My concern, again, would be about city staff, and it's not that we don't have the expertise, because we've got lots of expertise here. But keeping in mind that this is going to be an off-site manufactured building, I would hope that they'd actually be looking at an engineer that would be signing off and taking on the liability that has experience with this kind of building. It's not that we haven't inspected these, because we inspected the one that they built at the college, but I mean, I sort of think that, there might be engineering expertise within the city of Nelson that they could go to as opposed to going completely outside, but they are this is a module build, so it is a bit different than what's going on, say, on Vernon and the Hole. Natalie.
To clarify, what they're asking for is engineering services just for the constructing of the infrastructure on our road right of way.
Oh, okay.
So that would be the sidewalks, the shallow utilities, street, like all of that stuff.
So not the whole project?
No, just the,
They would,
just the roadway and
So I guess my question is either could we help them a bit here, or if it is a very delineated amount of engineering?
we could ask them for what they're projecting their
Yeah.
costs are, and you could,
Then rather
as
just
the mayor
say,
said, I think you could say, we can't provide this, and I don't know, you can give us direction to ask them what the costs are, and that if council, we don't wanna do that if there's no interest here to.
so could I add, then could I say to 2 and furthermore? Okay, so I'd like to make an amendment. And I would say, so should I should,
Well, I just want to know, does anybody else have any comment on yes, thank you, Councillor Page.
I appreciate the sentiment with which this is coming from, and I think there's an opportunity for a conversation to happen regardless of whether we pass the motion as stated. What really highlights for me within the report is that assumption of the liability component that goes along with it. On top of, I think, all of the projects, like we're still working our way out of the Civic. So from a capacity perspective, to have another one of those projects, I'd be far more comfortable to pass it as written now. And if a conversation is had when you're at the chamber with representing and through staff about maybe making an ask for a monetary piece, then happy to entertain that when that comes through. But for now, I think let's just keep the lines as cleanly as we have. We've already kind of done that, and I think a follow-up could come further down the road, and that's fine too.
Just in terms of, so we're, as Natalie mentioned, we're talking about the street and the streetscape. So ultimately, how that gets delivered is the developer is, generally responsible for delivering that. Their engineers sign off on it, so warranty, et cetera. Ultimately, we accept that road and those, sidewalks and streetlights, and we maintain it into the future. So there's, it's not so much liability, it's more probably warranty that it's, if it fails after whatever, 2 years, we can go back after
It's the 2 sets of eyes.
Yeah.
It's like someone
Yeah,
produces it and someone else checks it. And then
Exactly.
we say,
So our
"Yeah,
job
we're good," and
normally is
we're all
to,
doing the one thing.
yeah, generally we're monitoring to make sure that they're building it to the standard, but we're not the engineer of record.
So I'm, that's my
Councillor
point.
Tate.
Thanks so much. So BC Builds is different than the other building granting funds that we've looked at closely. So I recall in those cases, that the societies, the nonprofit organizations received a bunch of pre-development funding. So in this case, can you help me understand where they're at in terms of their other funding? So for those projects, those societies were already existing, they may or may not have already had some money to leverage. This is a brand new society with zero in the bank. And it makes me curious, as I was in the other instances, about community engagement and what other partners and fundraisings and things can we do when we want something that's for community good, when we collectively want to move a project forward. So can you help me understand BC Builds and how it gets funded, please? Does anybody know?
Well, BC Builds is really the agency that's trying to deliver this middle income housing.
Okay.
So they get funding through BC Housing, so they don't have their own funding, so this project would go through their normal process of funding. There is a large grant that BC Housing is providing to this project. CMHC is going to be the mortgagee and will offer low cost financing to this project.
So is the building kind of as proposed funded at this point?
It is funded. CMHC, you know, there's a grant that will come through BC Housing.
Yes.
And then Canada Mortgage and Housing is funding the mortgage portion of that. So I think it's about 1/3, 2/3 is 1/3 grant and 2/3 mortgage. So they've had to produce a business plan and satisfy both the province through BC Builds, and then they're still going through the process with the underwriters for Canada Mortgage and Housing for their approvals. There was a shortfall and what Canada Mortgage and Housing was going to fund versus what was approved by the province. So the province did come back and managed to close that gap and that shortfall.
Great. So the building is funded. There's some grants from the city, for lack of a better word, from our 2 reserves that will help with what a developer would normally have to pay for, sidewalk, road, etc. And there's a shortfall there because this is a brand new society without its own float of a certain tens of thousands of dollars. I think it's a real opportunity to engage the community and look at our business partners and our walkathoners and our chocolate sellers or whatever to say like, hey, this is something that the community wants, let's all get behind it. I think that that's one piece that we've been missing in some of these projects is engaging with our neighbors and raising the little bit of money that we need to make projects go and to get everybody excited about it. So I would recommend that since it's such a small amount compared to all these other pieces that are already in place. I'd be excited to see the community get behind it.
Yeah, and just as Natalie said, what the chamber brought to the table is the land. So that's their equity contribution into this project. I forget what that was valued at. But they have contributed through land, which but that doesn't take away from what you're saying. I just
Yeah, if
want
it's
to
a
make.
society, but I could donate $5,
Yeah,
like
that's
Kate Tate
fine.
could donate $5. There is opportunity for people to participate in this project.
There is.
I'm gonna go Councillor Page, Councillor Woodward.
I'll be quick in that I think it's wise to think about how we structure that in the future, because I think you're right. So maybe just put a flag in it for the future, but it could be a development with an requirement for housing affordability fund, that there's some 10%, 5% of the ask is achieved through donation to show community support. Some slug in there to say, hey, go raise $5,000 and we'll give you 50. Right? I think there's mechanisms there that could be contemplated for the future that would then help address that. So yeah, if you can go raise $5,000, then in small donations, you can ask for up to 50,000 or something. Could be a way to start to institutionalize that kind of request.
Councillor Woodward.
Thank you, Mayor. I think as far as I understand this project, it's kind of driven around local businesses leasing out No.
That's
they're
not
not-
happening
they
anymore.
can't do
Not
that
anymore,
anymore.
okay, that's what I thought the original one, okay,
Yeah.
never mind then.
No, that's a
So
change.
I'm wondering, I mean, could I add something to this, saying that like rather than just say no, that I could add something to this, that there would be a possibility for them to.
You want-
Well, we're gonna, if we say no, they're gonna know that, and we're also gonna probably tell them that we've asked staff for more information, like we don't really know what we need to put here.
Sure,
As part of the problem, I would think, Councilor Woodward, like, is it $5?
Yeah.
Do I take my cookies from the Girl Guides and throw them into the pot? I mean, we don't know what the true ask here is, but what we're hearing is that we kind of want to hear what the number is. This doesn't have to be, I would say this doesn't have to be decided immediately today. We have time to bring this back, in terms of looking at that with some more costs or what the options are. So they're gonna hear, like,
as long
They're
as.
gonna hear
as
why
long
we
as
told them
there's-
no.
As long as there's like a door or two to like open up and see what's there, rather than just a flat no.
yeah, I mean, this project has been ongoing for some time. There are staff that meet every 3 weeks on this, project. So it's not like we're not in communication with this team. So I don't think at this point it needs like any amendment or some add to, because we don't really know what we wanna add to it.
Do we want to just withdraw this motion then?
I
And
think
wait
it-
until we have numbers?
No, I think we
No, we've got it,
we
we've got
don't
it,
wanna
we've just
provide
seconded.
engineering services.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I don't-
so,
I'm not sure.
Come back and make an
yeah, so they can ask for something different in some other format or tell us
Yeah.
some more
But
information.
either you as council could direct us to
Yeah.
ask for a quote on the engineering.
I would like to, I wanna help them as much as possible, because I think,
I don't think we need a motion for that, though. I think staff is hearing that we,
Yeah.
yeah. We don't need a motion for that.
Is the motion moved, is two moved?
It's been moved, this has been moved and seconded. It was moved by Councillor Woodward, or seconded by yourself, Councillor Page.
Okay, I just.
So,
I just hope, cause I sit on the chamber, and I just hope that, they don't, cause I moved this to actually help, and now they're just gonna see that I moved it and they said no.
well, they're not gonna come and look and see that he moved
I
it.
just want them to know that like, I feel like,
Call the question.
All those, I mean, it's gonna be okay.
okay,
All those in favor?
In favor?
You can vote against it as well.
I don't wanna, I
Sorry.
want just to
They'll
move
be,
forward.
they're gonna understand.
I want the project to move forward,
Okay,
that's all.
and that,
We'll get it.
The project to move forward.
and that carries.
Okay.
And that,
I think everybody here wants the project to move forward. I think we're all on board for housing.
okay, and item number 3, which is just housekeeping and paperwork, if somebody wouldn't mind moving that. Councillor Page, seconded by Councillor Payne. Councillor Page, if you wouldn't mind reading it.
The council directs staff to amend the financial plan to reflect the grants provided from the Affordable Housing Reserve Fund and the Downtown Waterfront Reserve Fund.
All those in favor? And that carries. Okay.
So I feel like I've said it a couple of times at this table this year, and I believe Councillor Page has also said it, that we could look at the Affordable Housing Fund policy and how, I don't know how to ask that we address the way that it's, is what I do next time? I'll write that down.
Well,
I'll do it later.
It came from the conversation.
So look at it, so it was last amended in 2018.
Mhm.
And I think staff was looking at it, but Ken is looking at it, so
Okay, great.
I think we're.
We talked about it a few times, so I wasn't sure if it was coming back.
Sorry, Natalie, I just wanna skip over if we have.
It is on our work plan, but I think I'm not sure this one specific thing about getting community support, like.
Well, and the other curiosity was last time we were, there was requests from the Affordable Housing Fund when the zoning had not yet been approved, and so there was that double hat complexity for council.
Okay, yes. Okay, so maybe also address that somehow in the policy as well.
Oh, give us an opportunity to discuss, yeah.
We can workshop it.
Yeah, well, definitely we can workshop it and we can talk about what it means for community support. Is it letters? Is it financial contributions? How do they show that?
Yeah.
Walkathons.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I heard about the walkathons for the pool.
The other thing on their work plan is sort of the land disposal acquisition strategies, so maybe we can sort of talk about both at the same time.
Might go together, yeah. No rush, I was just curious if it was on the list. It is on, thank you.
We've been talking about it at the,
Only 12 more months left.
Okay,
Panera will be here.
we didn't have the walkathon.
Panera's
thing,
coming
but
back.
we can-
Committed to be the acting mayor.
be way more traffic walking from Balfour now than it was when we walked for the pool. So next up, item number 10, minutes and other things. So we have to receive for information development services, the building permit statistics for September 1st to September 26th. Mover, seconder.
Sorry, are we moving both of them, or? I have a question on number 2.
Okay, am I on number 2?
You're, okay,
Am I out of order again in my little
Yes.
things here? Sorry. I was doing the building statistics. My
Yeah.
apologies, so.
1 minute, okay.
So I moved the minutes.
So
Okay.
you moved the minutes, okay.
Okay. So I'm hearing that somebody wants to pull some out, so
Can we have a
which
second?
do you,
I have a question from the Greater Nelson Economic Development Report.
okay, so let's do item 1, receipt for information, the Cultural Development Committee and the Heritage Working Group. So moved by Councillor Page, seconded by Councillor Tate. All those in favor, and that carries. Item 2, I'll allow Councillor Payne to move. Is there a seconder? Councillor Woodward, Councillor Payne.
I just had a question because there was something in the minutes that had come up before us before, and that was utilizing the civic for the film industry. And we didn't hear really anything back about that, but it's gone through GNED, so I'm not sure where it's sitting as it relates to this table, what sort of input
Yeah,
there would be
where-
from that perspective.
Yeah, where that is, I just actually saw something from the province today. So they've asked, because of the uncertainty on the civic arena, they've asked to have a broader look across the region where that might best fit. So they've asked the grantor to amend it to allow that broader look at what other facilities may be available to.
Okay, so the money that was received in a grant to advance that project is now sort of a change of scope to look wider for a different location? Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, I was just interested to follow up on that,
Yeah,
to understand what's happening.
Yeah, it
Because
was-
I know we're talking about facilities on Thursday,
Yeah.
but one of the things I remember very, very clearly from one of our first facilities is we want buildings that can be used on a year-round basis to maximize their utility. So if
Yeah.
that's not an option, then obviously we're considering
Yeah,
other things.
It depends ultimately on decisions that council make around that building, and that doesn't mean that it couldn't be the location, they were a bit stuck.
Okay.
We hadn't made decisions on sort of what that looks like, what the timelines or anything like that.
I just hadn't seen it come up before,
Yeah, fair enough.
recently until I was reading those minutes.
That's where it's at.
Councillor Tate?
For people who like to read the minutes, I do notice that there is a section in the action items regarding requesting for there to not be taxation on secondary suites, which we did bring to the UBCM floor on behalf of GNED. And we spoke fervently in favor of it, but it did not pass. It did not pass. No, it's a heavy lift to ask people to not get taxed.
Really?
Yeah, it's a tough one, but we tried. And we'll try again. We might refine the language.
That might be useful.
I think you have to put some parameters around it, cause when I read it again, I was like, okay, there's people out there that probably do need to pay tax, that we'll figure out what the loophole is, and the people that we were trying to have this non-taxation for, so whether or not it's something like for small businesses where you don't pay PST if you're not making 35,000 a year, like it's gotta have some guardrails.
Yep.
And it was missing the guardrails.
Although I did have someone tell me that other things had more no's than mine, so.
There you go, you don't hear that every day.
Okay, so this has been moved and seconded. Item number 2 of the minutes is, can we move it? All those in favor? And that carries. And sorry, now we'll go to, because I was out of order there, to Development Services. Moved by Councillor Woodward, seconded by Councillor Tate. So there's our building statistics for the month of September. All those in favor, no, Councillor Payne has a question.
I'm always interested when I see these statistics, and I'm trying to understand what this means in light of the, national and provincial environment. Is there any way, without too much work, we could just get like a 3-line, and this is sort of what this means to our, no, I'm not clear on what I'm asking for, but just a bit of an interpretation. So I'm not trying to, I'm not making things up based on the raw data. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
Is it in terms of like how many building permits we have year over year, how many new housing?
Yeah.
And it's more of like a written report, like a summary of
Yeah,
this?
just really 3 sentences, because what I have, in my head is our housing needs report and what is our path to get there.
Yeah.
So when I look at this, I feel concerned about our path to get there. So should I be concerned? Is it something that we need to elevate in ways that we haven't recognized yet? Or so that's sort of what I'm getting at, just some key metrics that I think of as, my dashboard and how these reports relate to that.
So we need to build 12,000 houses and we built one last month. You just want that. Goal is 12,000 by 2050.
No, I know what the goals are. It's like based on.
In terms of the dashboard though, like.
Yeah.
So we built 75 units and 20 secondary suites, so 95 units this year to date. So how does that relate to how many we're projected that we
Where are
need
we?
over the next?
Where how the United Way always had that fill the thermometer? So we know we're going here. With this report, we got to here and something visible
what you're saying?
that's
Yeah,
relevant.
that's what the mayor was
Oh, is
saying.
that, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry, when you were saying 1 versus, okay, 12,000.
She was,
We are bringing forward a housing dashboard in January.
Great.
So, and it was kind of a yearly progress report, maybe that would address it, but if we could summarize this in a verbal format, if that would work too.
I think the annual dashboard
It'd be
makes
great
sense.
to look at the
Yeah.
annual,
Visual.
yeah, that would help, because I'm just looking year over year and going, oh, what does that mean? And then I try and look back, and for me, like for you, it's your, daily event. For me, it's like once a month I get the report and I'm trying to factor in what does that mean and how does that relate, so anything that would help with that. And maybe everybody else has got it, so it's just me and I can have a brief conversation with you, but
Visual always works good.
the
That
idea of the annual
dashboard.
dashboard is so exciting, I
We'll
love
be
that.
here in January.
Woo, okay, thanks.
Okay, so that was moved and seconded, and all those in favor, and that carries. Thank you. Okay, where are we at here now? There was no late items, so moving on to item 12. It is the opinion of the council that the public interest requires that persons other than members of council and staff and any approved audiences be excluded from this meeting, and that the special closed meeting of council continues under section 91A and E of the community charter to deal with matters related to the following: personal information about an identifiable individual who holds or is being considered for a position as an officer, employee, or agent of the municipality or another position appointed by the municipality, the acquisition, disposition, or expropriation of lands or improvements, if the council considers that disclosure could be reasonably expected to harm the interests of the municipality. Do I have a mover? And seconder. Okay, moved by Tate, seconded by Panero. All those in favor? And that carries. Okay.
Can we just have a second?
Mhm. Did Did the book go around just while she's turning everybody off? Did we get enough signatures?
Pass the book, please, sir.